Yeah, big elephants in the room.
They are. Let's see.
Are you doing it or am I?
I'm doing it.
Yeah, right on. Way to step up, Owen.
You know, that's what I like to do when I can.
Step it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live edition of Doomcast. It's good to have you alongside myself. My name's Doug Owen and Charlie McGrath. We have founded this fine podcast in its 67th version. We've come back together to do this thing. What's up, Charlie McGrath?
Indeed, we did, Doug Owen.
Indeed.
You were sounding all calm and like almost PBS-ish there.
Well, thank you.
PBS. It was very calm and soothing.
Hi, Charlie McGrath.
Welcome to the Doomcast.
I've been listening to NPR. I've been listening to the World Podcast.
Get yourself a nice cup of sleepy time tea and join us.
I like chamomile. I don't know
Chamomile,
about
I think
you.
that's what's in sleepy time, isn't it? I don't know.
I think so.
Well, I'll tell you what. That's my all-natural approach to everything now. And sleeping now is a half hour before I go to bed. I take some sleepy time tea. I take a mug or two, and I'll read for a half hour. And not the computer screen, because that is a stimulant. I'll just read a book, and man, it's been working wonderful. 8 solid hours, bam.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're on the new rig. I figured it out. Spent about 5 hours trying to tune
Moving
it
along. Moving along to
along.
the next story. Let's
Well,
talk about the big rig.
I mean, you want to hear about my evening usual? I'm feeding the baby, hoping the baby stays asleep for 4 hours consecutively, blah, 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 blah.
You guys split that
Nobody
duty?
cares.
Are you splitting
not
that?
during the week. Not during the week. Wife is a homemaker. We have tried very hard to budget her not to have to work. And in where we live, it's not worth the hassle, really, unless you can. I mean, there's a certain threshold of money that you really have to make to where it justifies giving your children to other people that care less about your children than you do and
That's
are getting paid, maybe somewhat above minimum wage. I mean, I can't think of anybody else that you wouldn't want spending your child spending all day with and interacting with. So
tell me about it, brother. I mean, I did it. I had my son. It was just him and I when he was toddler age before school. And I had no choice. I had to go to work. So, I dropped the $500, $600, $700 a month, to have him in a quality daycare. I mean, you can find.
Did it have curriculum?
Yeah, it had like a preschool curriculum, when he was 4.
Yeah.
And which is just basically, it was great. It stimulates their minds a little bit, but if I had my choice, obviously I'd rather have a parent home with them and in those years. But there's a lot of folks.
We did the math, and she would have to earn over $48,000 a year to make it worth the gas. I mean, when you really look at the cost of daycare, plus all of the things that you're going to have to, all the things that go in having a job. That's where we're at today, where there's that threshold. So
yeah, I know, no doubt about it. And that sounds even low and especially when you factor in, like you said, the quality care that she's going to get, or that your child's going to get with her rather than with a stranger. Now, I mean, that's not saying there's not a lot of good quality daycares out there, and but there's a lot of people who can't afford the $700 a month, $1,000 a month quality daycare, and they end up with the lady down the street who's watching 4 kids a day, per day.
She might do a better job than the other lady. It's hard to say. It's just. Nobody can have your interests better at heart than you.
There.
Period.
You see what I did there? You see what you're exactly right. And I slowed you down from jumping right into the news. I wanted to get a little personal time, one-on-one with Doug. That's what Doomcast is all about.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah. My child's toys are starting to.
Okay, that's enough. Let's
No. Listen to this, okay?
Right,
I want you to tell me what you hear when I play this for you, Charlie McGrath,
let's hear it.
And then. Yeah, I'll let you be the decider as to whether I'm going crazy. Here we go.
Let me hear it. Yep.
Hold on. It's playing, I think. Oh, it says it's playing. I said I learned this. Hold on.
Here we.
Oh, there it is. Hold on. I got it.
Okay. All right.
I got it listed here as slave toy.
Let me hear the slave toy.
Take a spin around the sea, meet new friends, feel the breeze. Take a spin around the sea, come let's play.
Okay, so what did you hear that in that?
Take a spin around the sea?
Yeah,
is that what it said?
Yeah, okay, listen. Here we go.
Take a spin around the sea, meet new friends, feel the breeze. Take a spin around the
And that,
the luring him onto the slave ship.
do you hear it?
Yeah, I hear it.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
And you can hear my son in the background. He's calling me mommy, which is, talk about ironic, but whatever. Maybe he's just... I'm a slave.
Meet new friends.
Feel the breeze.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so that's
terrifying.
Programming. Yeah, it's
What
terrifying.
is that? What the hell is that?
Man, this
That's
thing is
creepy.
it's all sorts of creepy. Here, hold on. There we go. The dolphin.
The octopus is pink.
Oh, I bet it is.
Is that a see and say? Is that a modern version of the see and slave?
This is some, I don't know what the hell this thing is.
It's a see and slave.
It's an
Get rid of it
enslaver
now.
Children. Yeah, I'm gonna throw it against the ground here.
That's when you're your son's age,
Dirty, evil crustaceans.
they're easy to get rid of. You can they don't miss them as much. So just get rid of it. Just get that thing out of. That's creepy.
All right.
Come, let's take a trip around the sea.
You're doing real investigative stuff. You're putting
No,
YouTube
not
videos.
really, not really.
I'm recording my children's toys because I think they're programming me at night. I mean,
They are programming you. Take a spin around the sea. Let's be a slave. Come on. Get that thing out of there.
well, anyway, people are preparing for unrest. We have a state of emergency. I saw a video on our Doomcast site, doomcast.com. Follow us on Twitter at Doomcast Show if you are so inclined and you want to keep up with everything Doomy. You can do that. We have the decision. Al Sharpton's on high alert, and I guess the rest of the people out there are ready to watch the fireworks. And,
Absolutely.
So you had commentary, thoughts on Ferguson?
Well, yeah, I do have thoughts on Ferguson. It is going to be a state of emergency, and I think that's really an understatement from what's going to go down there. Jay Nixon, the governor of Missouri, state of emergency, mobilized National Guard. They're painting anybody now. Maybe this is jaded from my perspective.
I'm sure it is.
It probably is. So this is why I'm going to ask you and the Doomer Nation if I'm out to lunch here. But it absolutely seems as if they're setting the stage for anybody that comes out into the streets of Ferguson after this decision, regardless of what it is. Because regardless of what it is, there's going to be people in the streets, right? Regardless if they're going to prosecute.
They've been out there for 3 months. I don't see why they would.
Well, I mean a surge. There's going to be a surge, if you will, of folk in the street, regardless if he, And personally, they're going to say it was justified. I don't think they're going to prosecute this guy. But anyway, you have Jay Nixon mobilizing the National Guard. You have the FBI talking about that there's going to be likely violence across this country as a result of this decision. But they go on to demonize folks who are, buying gas masks or bulletproof vests so they can withstand the onslaught of rubber bullets and gas canisters being shot at them. So the violence we saw in Ferguson a few months ago when the protests had reached their zenith, if you will.
Nice. I like that word.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be even worse when this verdict is released, and they're not going to, they're obviously not. They've screwed. Law enforcement has just effed this up from start to finish, right? From the initial shooting all the way till now, everything has been.
Agreed.
It seems, it's been an absolute mess, and so they're going to answer the violent outbursts that occurred in the initial protest, the heavy-handedness of the cops. Craig and I were talking about this a little bit on the program earlier. How they were pointing their weapons directly into the crowd, which is a very aggressive posture to take by these militarized police forces. The military would never do that. The police force should know better. That you don't point your loaded M4s into a crowd. The MRAP with the sniper on top and just the crowd control tactics that were used it's going to be even worse. And everybody from local law enforcement to state with the governor coming out and the FBI predicting likely violence and demonizing folks who are preparing with gas masks and bulletproof vests for likely violence. They're setting the stage for what's going to be, I think, far, far worse than what we saw a few months ago, Doug. I don't know. What's your thought? They're going to have the verdict and then everybody.
Well, I think if you're buying gas masks, then you're probably prepared to resist and to fight the cops, which, at this point, I don't know how much that's going to really, help the situation or really, change things. as far as the indictment. I mean, I guess you do get some perks, like having Al Sharpton come to your event, the Tragedy Pimps. He is going to be with the family. He says, quote, "I have pledged to the mother and father of Michael Brown that I'll be there with them when the decision is announced." And I guess that's news, but he also had this to say.
Resist we much.
Yeah.
We must and we will much about that be committed.
Thank you, Reverend Al Sharpton.
It's almost too delicious to believe, but that was an actual take. That was actually not, cut together
I would be
by Doug
fired.
Owen.
Okay, they fear him. They know he will sue the crap out of them if they sue him, and it'll be a racial lawsuit. So they're either Republicans pretending to be liberals, and they just do this because it's funny. They just get joy out of listening to the guy, or he's got some dirt on somebody. He's a snitch, so who knows what he may have come into.
I think it's fear. For the life of me, I don't understand how these tragedy whores maintain any credibility or maintain a standing in these.
Because that's what they are, Charlie McGrath. They're tragedy whores.
That's exactly what they are. I don't know what was with the theme music there.
It's Entertainment Tonight. They're just a bunch of puppets.
Yeah, and Al Sharpton. Is Jackson? Is Jackson down there? I mean, who else we got down there?
I don't know. A lot of people that are really upset that want to see justice, I guess, in this case. And
what are your thoughts? I mean, I did that video.
I did a lot of research into this. I mean, okay, first of all, I've heard a lot of people saying, well, who's in charge? Okay, apparently, quote,
they don't know.
We're, it, that's the quote from the Missouri governor. So I looked into this, okay? He executed Executive Order 14-14.
66.
1414. Okay, this is when they take over, everybody. So, what is the state of emergency? What's actually going to happen? What's going to be the role of federal agencies? That's what I was interested in, just to see what kind of extrajudicial military terminology or, what kind of takeover is happening here. So, from the executive order, I further direct the Missouri State Highway Patrol together with the St. Louis County Police Department and the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department to operate as a unified command, which is a legal term. It's a unified command. They are furthermore ordered that the St. Louis County Police Department shall have a command and operational control over security in the city of Ferguson. He says, I further order pursuant of Section 41.480 RSMO, the Adjutant General of the State of Missouri or his designee to forthwith call and order into active service such portions of the organized militia. So this got me, interested. Who the heck is the abject general here? Who's the guy, the adjunct? He's the fill-in general that now is in charge of Missouri. And so we found that it is Stephen Danner. He's a major general. Stephen, it's Stephen Danner, and he is the guy. He is in charge of the police departments and this unified command. He's been around. He enlisted in the Army back in 1972, and he's had a recent deployment to Iraq back in May of 2005, and then to looks like we lost Charlie there for a moment.
No, I'm here. My mic cut out for a second, but I'm right back. I heard everything he said. Stefan, recent deployment to Iraq.
It's probably Stephen, but yeah, who cares?
I'm going to call him Stefan.
We can call him that.
Yeah, I'm going to call him General. So the General, he's in charge of all, not only military in the case of the National Guard, but paramilitary in the case of law enforcement. He's the guy in charge.
Yeah, and he's a successful businessman. And guess what else he is? Just take a wild guess.
A Freemason?
Maybe, but that's not what I was looking for. Survey says. No, maybe
I don't know. He's what? He's a
CEO?
A
lawyer.
Oh, okay.
Aren't they all lawyers?
Yeah, they're all
Obama's
lawyers.
a lawyer. Everybody's a lawyer. So, my question obviously would be,
he's a scapegoat, is what he's going to be here in a few weeks.
Is this going to be any better or worse than what we've already seen out of the Ferguson Police Department? That's the question I think the governor ultimately has. is this?
So, wait a minute, I got to ask you something. That statement you just read there, that had to have been a prepared statement that came out after, because he was a blithering idiot. I mean, a complete nincompoop when it came to answering
this is stuff I researched. I went to Wikipedia and looked up adjunct general. He's a military chief administrative officer.
The chain of command that you just rattled off there.
Oh, yeah, this is some verbiage that they gave him to write the executive order, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Because when he was asked in front of the camera, who was going to be in charge of this, it was the it was the most embarrassing and most difficult, most awkward 3 minutes of my life to listen to that, because he had no clue. I've got it here.
We could play it, but why? Just to irritate the listeners.
All it's going to do is make me crazy, because this is a guy who's the governor of the state, and he's about to unleash what seems like potentially could be hell on the people of Ferguson, and he doesn't even know who's in the chain of command. So that chain of command or that who's going to be in charge list that you just read there, that had to have been prepared afterward.
Well, I don't know if he's unleashing hell on these people that are damaging and possibly burning and looting.
Right.
Guns down, stop looting. Did you hear that? There's a couple hashtags out there. You know
what? Here's the deal. There's going to be provocateurs in this thing, regardless.
Right.
But always. But it's like I was trying to tell you a minute ago. You watched that video I put out, and the backlash. I don't know. There's 200 or 120 votes on it, and most of them are positive. But I have a large number of negative votes on that video, or thumbs down, or whatever you want to call it.
Why? Why do you think that is?
Because there's people who have globbed on to the neocon line that this brown kid deserved to get killed, and this guy deserves to be let go free, and I'm an idiot, and then a lot of racist crap that came on.
Really?
I
mean,
read some of the comments.
I don't know. We don't have all the videos, but the guy. I mean, I don't think that it's okay that he shot an unarmed person, but in certain situations, it seems that would be, okay. If and we've talked about this before, and I'm probably going to get some disparaging comments, but you break into my house and try to take, one of my cigars, maybe an Oliva, something Dominican, maybe a nice punch. It's a $7 cigar. I'm going to kill you for probably less than that, and that's just how it happens. But this is my home. It's a little bit different.
Exactly.
So I understand how people feel about that.
Look, the facts of it's like I said earlier in the last podcast.
People are upset about everything else, and they're all hinging this on. And this is what it always becomes. Somebody's a personality in this, and then it becomes about the person. The reason that people are pissed is because they've seen the oppressive tactics by the police state.
Exactly.
There is no justice for the
that's
poor.
My point exactly is that and I put a comment on that video and said earlier in my other program that it is a tragedy that this teenager is shot and killed by a cop, and he's completely unarmed. All right. So, but even if it's like you said, or even it's like some of the commenters said, he was bum rushing the cop, he was going to steal his gun and kill him, and he was justified in this shooting. Setting that whole entire issue aside for a minute, looking at what happened after that was kind of the point of that video, and kind of the point of reading what Jay Nixon has done with mobilizing the National Guard, and the FBI coming out demonizing folks already who haven't even protested yet. And saying that there's going to be likely violence from these radicals, and from there's going to be a bunch of no good terrorists, if you will, domestic terrorists almost, because they're going to go out and buy gas masks and bulletproof vests so they can stand up to what they know is coming. There's going to be this onslaught, and now to hear that it's going to be a military general in charge of the whole shooting match. Who knows where this could go? But at the end of the day, or even at the end of this verdict, it becomes less about what happened between Brown and this cop, and more about how law enforcement, local, state, and federal, are handling the people that have every right to go out and protest. They have every right to be furious for what happened, but it's just how they're going to be treated is what was the point of that video, and I think it's going to be very, very bad. Now, on the first.
Yeah. I think it's going to be bad, but I think that they won't be nearly as heavy-handed as maybe the Ferguson Police Department that is used to this. I mean, you can just see the shock in some of these police officers. I mean, they just have no regard whatsoever. The warrior cops that we saw. So there might be maybe a little bit more attention to detail. I'm not really that critical of the governor's decision to institute this state of emergency. I'd be critical of what was it, Connecticut? Where was it? Where they instituted martial law, state of emergency for Ebola. That's ridiculous. This is, and if nothing else, not that it shows you how bad things have gotten when I think the military would be more diplomatic. And I don't know, I keep losing Charlie over here in his microphone.
Sorry, it's the blue snowball you made me buy. It keeps cutting out on me.
I did not even recommend the blue snowball. No.
The state of emergency for Ebola, yeah, that was absolutely ridiculous.
Now, people gave me a lot of crap on the YouTube channel, your YouTube channel. Doug, this is totally different. You just wait. It's going to kill everybody. I think there's 2 people now that have died of Ebola. And, it's on the topic. I mean, it's one of the big stories. But what happens in Ferguson, it'll be... I think it's going to be a lighter approach because of the media scrutiny, because of
that was a point I wanted to make too. Was during the recent protest, right? That at the height of that protest, it had become a media driven event. I mean, there was one point there. I was watching the live feed from Vice News, and there was more media protesting than there was protesters protesting. This was so there's many different elements going on here. You have police state, you have shock and awe media that's out there trying to get the story. You have legitimate people that are protesting. I believe we have provocateurs out there, and then you have scums, thugs that are coming into town, or maybe they're from there, that are taking advantage of the situation and burning down and looting and all that. So obviously, it's not a cut and dry. It's not cut and dry from the actual shooting of the kid, right? And it's not cut and dry everything that's going to come down the pike from here on out, but. One thing that we've learned is that law enforcement has no problem becoming very, very much heavy-handed and using some of the new 1033 armaments that they've received over the last years, like the MRAPs and other military type equipment. So
I mean, some of that stuff's not that effective. I mean, right here where I live, they have stuff that's way better than that. I mean, when it comes to the 1033 program, I don't think it's so much about a grand conspiracy. It's about dumping off a lot of equipment that ended up being, you got double taxed for because these are, failed vehicles in Iraq, and then they sold them to your police department or gave them to the police department, and, they can't do anything with them. They've got what they call the bread truck here, and it's a mobile command unit, and it's much more discreet. It has no markings whatsoever. It's more covert. It has, the latest technology. It's not stuff from... I mean, you think about it, the Iraq war, how old is that stuff? I mean, you can only use an APC on the streets for so long before it just rips them to shreds. So the 1033 program is more about, to me at least, huge amounts of government waste and, offloading equipment that, so they can buy and update to have new military equipment and saying, well, see, we don't have this. We need all this new military equipment. If you saw that on the books and said, well, you already have 10,000 personnel carriers, or the F-35 has already cost us $1 trillion. Like, well,
Doug, it is not by accident that these things are ending up in local law enforcement. It isn't because they didn't have a better market.
I'm just saying that it's ineffective. Most of the stuff that the police departments got was fun to paint, Round Rock Police Department, Bozeman, Montana, on the side of a tank, but the tank is sitting in a shed or in some field somewhere, because at the end of the day, police departments in these local towns ended up with stupid things that just weren't effective, honestly. But yeah, I mean, it really shows you, I think, a lot of aspects. I mean, there's a lot of ways to look at that. I mean, would you rather them have a broke down tank trying to drive that thing around your city, or something that's circa 2010 plus, that's much more geared towards basically being more domestic and tactful. But I mean, we're splitting hairs here over the point.
Yeah, I don't even understand the point, because
my point is that that people look at things and they see an agenda, but the larger agenda is even worse. It's about getting rid of equipment so they can use the excuse for trillions of dollars more for the military-industrial complex. Meanwhile, your police department's going broke trying to pay for an oil change for a freaking tank. They don't have a tank repair guy around here, and if they do, they have to pay them tens of thousands of dollars. So it's even worse because you're getting triple, quadruple taxed, and they don't even have the money, so they're borrowing it. I mean, if you look at Chicago, it's a perfect example of the pension system. $111 billion in debt, some ridiculous number that's unfathomable. I mean, those are the things that are horrible, because somebody there is saying, well, we've got a budget to, change out these treads on this tank here, and we're going to need another $50,000 of money that we don't have, from grandma. That's the stuff that I think that, really irritates me, is because people don't see how it's even worse. It's even worse, but it's not as shocking because it's slow, it's subtle. It's like, the Austin school district being $1 billion in debt. $1 billion in debt. Who the hell is going to be able to ever pay that off? That's the thing that, that
I don't think we can lose sight of the fact, though, that, you might be right. I don't know of any M1s or any APC, well, maybe APCs, but not tanks that have went to police departments. I do know that, a lot of these MRAPs and other wheeled vehicles have ended up in the hands of law enforcement. And again, there's plenty of foreign markets to sell this stuff.
Oh,
they were cutting. And to your point, for the military-industrial complex, for the benefit of them, they cut up billions of dollars worth of equipment in Afghanistan. They didn't have to haul it back here to give it to the police. They could just cut it up and burn it in Afghanistan rather than ship it back here and give it to the police. I do believe there's an absolute agenda to militarize the police across this country.
Well, I think so too, but I just think that was the 1033 program. The more I looked into it, the more I realized it was highway robbery more than that.
Most of that stuff was free, though. I mean, there's maintenance costs that are going to be associated with that and training on equipment. But a lot of that stuff was...
Those APC vehicles are junk. I mean, most of them are junk, and we saw them, falling apart in Iraq, and they look cool, but when you really get inside of them, and then once you have to rebuild a tranny, good luck. Good luck with that. Who are you going to get with? Triple canopy.
Simple Detroit diesel
Yeah.
mechanics in there. I mean, the equipment isn't. I mean, it is made to be easy to repair. I was in the Army.
But that's what I'm saying. You have to get surplus parts. You have to get repair people. That's my
military-industrial complex, right?
Well, but your local police department doesn't have that, and maybe
they don't need it. They'll come in and take your stuff. We talked about that last week.
They're all about their own money. They're not worried about.
They're gonna come in and collect what you got, and the most lucrative and liquid assets you have, the better it'll serve the police department. As we talked about last week, in seminars that are being given on what the police should go in and take.
I'm not really disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that there's a larger point.
You are disagreeing with me.
More sinister than the martial law takeover. That's more ridiculous. See, this is the good thing for us. Okay, government wouldn't know how to take over the world if they could. Because people in government are disconnected and stupid. And so that gives us a little bit of an advantage, Charlie McGrath. I want to know one thing, though. Have you got your ticket to Vegas? Are you excited? There are parties happening in Las Vegas. People are excited about Obama coming there to announce his new executive order on immigration. There's been a leak. There's a lot of speculation.
4 million.
Rick Perry says Texas is going to sue. Bonner says that Obama is guilty of a quote-unquote flagrant untruth.
The audacity of this president.
Jackpot Amnesty celebration set for Vegas. I want to know, are you going to be there? Do we have tickets? Are we going to go through the underground tunnels to meet up with our brethren?
Deep underground military base.
Our
we'll take the
brethren in the Illuminati.
Yeah. I don't think so. I think I'll sit back and just watch this thing. And to me,
Johnson, I refuse to call him says that we have to brace for the new surge of illegals that are going to overrun the country. So, I mean, what's your take on illegal immigration? We've talked about it before.
The audacity. I'm just reading.
Dare you, sir?
This is Stephen.
I have to give the prediction to producer Craig.
Okay, you can ask me what I think, and then you have 33. To let me answer.
Well, because
you have to let me answer when you ask me what I think.
I want to know this. Okay, that plus I want to know that if you think that it is no coincidence, and our producer said it on your show, that the Ferguson announcement from the grand jury is timed exactly along with the immigration executive order and the slavery report that we're going to talk about.
Yeah. Well, where do I start? I'm reading from Steve King here, Republican, Ohio. The audacity of this president to think he can completely destroy the rule of law with the stroke of a pen is unfathomable to me. It is unconstitutional.
Really?
It is cynical, and it violates the will of the American people. Now, this might shock you, Doug, and it might shock some.
No.
It might shock some of the listeners. This is obviously it's been made into this huge hot button issue. Right?
Yes.
This amnesty, this executive order.
We're talking about it, so it must be.
Yeah. But what's ironic is, and God, I'm going to catch some crap for this, and I'm certainly, anybody that's listening to this program or me anywhere knows that I'm not an apologist for Obama or this current administration, but it's kind of the exact same thing that Reagan did. It's kind of the exact same thing that George Bush Sr. did during their terms. They both granted amnesty to certain immigrants coming in, like
all
mothers.
Right. Well, see, I'm gonna have to rebut you now.
Now wait,
have to do it.
The tune. I mean, the tune was a little different, though. I mean, the numbers we were talking about were a lot smaller, and the scope and the breadth of this executive order. It's yet to be announced and yet to be read, and it certainly could be something far worse. I just want people to realize that presidents. I hate precedent. But in the past. Precedent, like precedent law.
Oh, not Obama.
Not Obama. Not president. Precedent.
Okay.
So, the argument that's being used by the left, which is somewhat valid if you are into precedent law, is that presidents in the past, Republicans, have went outside of Congress to grant amnesty to illegals.
No.
The fact is that
not true.
That did. All right, go ahead.
Not true.
But
okay, but the Republicans did it. Okay, that is not an excuse. What about Reagan in 1987 and George H.W. Bush in 1990? That is the narrative that's being put out there.
Right.
This has become a favorite Democratic and center-left rebuttal to Republicans angry at the reports that President Obama may soon grant residency and working papers to as many as 5 million illegal aliens. Obama acts he'd rely on precedents set by Republican predecessors. Surely that should disbar today's Republicans from complaining.
Right.
Number one, Reagan and Bush acted in conjunction with Congress and the furtherance of a congressional purpose. In 1986, Congress passed a full-blown amnesty, the Simpson-Mazzoli Act, and I looked at that today just to make sure that this report from The Atlantic, which is usually left-leaning, and it was kind of surprising and let's be honest, a little refreshing to see this. Conferring the residency of rights of 3 million people, Simpson-Mazzoli was sold as a, quote, once and for all. And just like Goobergate, this is going to be the solution, okay?
Once and for all, it's all going to be over with.
It's all over with. We're going to tighten the borders and give amnesty. I remember hearing about it when I was a child. Solution to the illegal immigration problem, amnesty now, to be followed by strict enforcement in the future, and that's what they're saying now, which we can use history as a metric to know that this is bullcrap. So anyway, the executive action, okay, stop freaking out. The executive action is only another executive action to his own executive action, which was called the Dreamers Act in June of 2012. See, this is a way to light a fire under Congress's ass to try to make them do something, but they cannot, and they will not, and have no interest in. And here's the thing. Okay. Even though he's using executive order, it will have as little impact as probably less than Herbert H.W. Bush, George Sr., and Reagan's amnesty plans, both of which they had their own executive orders that did very little. So,
that's right. And in fact, in 1989, Herbert Walker Bush had a Senate bill approved to expand amnesty for immigrant families, but the House refused to consider the proposal. The bill was the Family Fairness Act, and so instead of, because the House wouldn't consider it, he directed policy. It wasn't law; it was policy that mimicked the Senate's plan. So it was policy with the Immigration Naturalization organization, or whatever, the enforcers of immigration and naturalization. Their policy was set to be more fair to these immigrant families that were being booted out of the country. So you're right. I mean, ineffective then, ineffective under Reagan, and ineffective under Obama, probably.
Yes. Well, I mean, you can ask for anything you want in the world, but you have to have enough money to actually enforce something and be able to do it. And actually,
are the good folks?
I mean, Real ID is a law.
Out over this?
Well, I mean, Real ID is a law. Okay. Right. It hasn't been instituted. Places it has, some states it has. It's really up to the states to do this and to adopt it. Just like saying that gay marriage banning gay marriage is illegal. South Carolina is reneging on a bunch of marriage licenses without the debate, that you and I should have, or could have, I guess, as divisive as it may be.
Let them get married.
And for me, it's the legal framework. That's why people want to go to government to ask for a license to ask the government if it's okay, because it's the government give me. Okay, I want his Social Security. We started having sex last week. We got married in Vegas, and now I want 30 or 40 years worth of money. People are like, oh, that's not legitimate. Or I mean, we could go through and on the, I guess, opposite side of that, you're with somebody forever and they're your one and only.
Yeah, I was going to say, that there's a lot easier ways to. I mean, if you're trying to just get on board with Benny's,
that's what it's about. Insurance,
sure, but legal, you can fake being a hetero and make that leap.
Legal, your wife has certain domain over things that you do, and economic decisions. I mean, there's a lot of reasons that you want that, or it would be advantageous for certain, government give me's in most cases. And maybe
you really think that's the reason most gay couples want to get married? And I'm not. I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because who cares? I mean, you don't need the state to tell you you're married. That's really a contract between you, your spouse, and the state. It gives you certain
you don't
taxing
need the
privileges.
State to give you and your wife a license to get married either.
I would pay more if she wasn't married to me for insurance.
Well, if you two want to be married,
you get a reduced
but that isn't
amount
the reason,
of.
But wait a minute, that isn't the reason that most couples get married.
I think that they do. I think people do.
You got married for insurance reasons?
I could go into the story. You want an anecdotal, stupid story that'll tell you? Okay, I got married at the Justice of Peace. Okay, sure. Because ultimately, my wife needed glasses. I was in the military. It's a true story. This is not a joke. This is not.
Oh, it's a story of love, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it was. I mean, I knew I was
Grab your
marry her.
chamomile. Grab your chamomile and listen tight. It's a story of love. Glasses.
I was an E3. I was making. Somebody was. It's funny. Somebody was criticizing us about talking about military stories in the chat room prior to the show, and I'm like, I never do that, and I just find myself here now, and
what?
My crow sound effect. But anyway, so
who cares? That was our life. That's a big part of our life was our military service.
We didn't have any money. And we I mean, we were living on less than, I think, $300 a month. We were living in a horrible, abject poverty in Norfolk, Virginia.
Sucks.
Yeah,
E3's made more than that in the Army. I know that.
I mean,
$7.99. You said a month, $300 a month.
No, a week. So it was like $79 every 2 weeks or so.
All right.
But I mean, you try to live in a city on that, and it's really, really hard. And your wife's making minimum wage and going to college, right. And so her glasses broke, and it was going to be like $300 that we didn't have. I already had a military payday loan to buy a broke down Honda, 1989 DX hatchback Honda that was, the paint was half. I mean, it was all gone. It was just, like a shell of a car that I got for $900, and I paid I don't know, it was like 30% interest on a military payday loan, and her glasses broke. And if we got married, you'd get per diem. It was like $500, $600 free healthcare, free optics, free glasses, free dentistry for your spouse, and it was a no-brainer. So we went to the JP and did it, and we just celebrated 15 years of marriage.
Okay. Well, here's the deal.
Voila.
Here's the deal. Your situation.
We did that because we needed the money. Other people do things because they need the money. But we were going to do it anyway. That doesn't mean that everybody that gets married. First of all, the majority of people get married. No, you said nobody does it because of that.
No, I didn't say nobody does it. I said the majority of the people don't get married. The majority of the couples that that I know, that the men and women across this country that get married, they're not getting married so they can get their wife glasses because they have a 30% payday loan.
You think it's all because of love? You don't think any of it's an economic arrangement? You don't think it's because they can get better insurance plans for their children? They can put them on their insurance at work because it's advantageous to them.
I guarantee if most of them are like that, they're not making it 15 years like you did, Owen.
What, gay people?
No. People in general that get married.
Oh, come on. People in general suck, so we shouldn't use the
you're
general
impossible
people.
Tonight.
Shouldn't use
you're
general
impossible.
people.
You're impossible. I would say that there's gay couples that are going to get married because they've been together, and I'm not even a proponent of this. I'm not.
You sound like
I sound like I'm arguing for it, but
a Rainbow Coalition or something. Wait, that's Sharpton's deal, isn't it? Or no, that's Jesse.
Shut your mouth, Owen. You shut your mouth, you E3 Honda driving 30% payday loan guy.
Hey, man, it was a hard time, but I learned a lot of lessons.
Times are hard. Listen to me. My point is this: I don't believe that most people, gay, straight, or otherwise, couples are looking to get married for just financial reasons only. There's some of them that are doing it for the shock and awe effect, being on TV, being on the news and challenging the system. But I do believe that people are people, gay or not, and I hope I'm right when I say that the majority of these folks that are doing this are doing it because they're with their partner, air quote, and they want to make it they want to make it official. They want to show their love and they want to show their dedication, so they're gonna tie the knot. And do benefits come with that?
I think it's
I know
it's
what you
about
think.
money, as Abba said.
My friend. You were jaded, my friend.
No, I do. I think that's the biggest, the legal ramifications, the legal aspects are the biggest reason that people that are in love need the government to sanction it. And I don't think I'm sure some people want the novelty of getting married in front of the state, but we've been conditioned. And actually, when it comes right down to it, getting marriage licenses from the state was really based in racism because they didn't want white people having sex with black people and breeding children that were undesirable. And so just do a little history lesson into why we have marriage licenses. Oh, it's because we want to make sure that people that have certain kind of diseases don't get married.
Yeah, same blood types or something.
Yeah, same blood types, for your benefit here in the U.S. of A. But
if you do want that benefit of having sharing life insurance or the benefit of a spouse, it's unfortunate you can't circumvent the state and just do your normal church wedding or some minister do the ceremony and that's it. It's legal. It's official. But you're right. I mean,
it's insurance things. I mean, you look at Obamacare. This is how ridiculous things have gotten. Yeah. People are wondering if the illegal immigrants are going to get Obamacare, as if Obamacare is actually something that's being given to you because he cares. Okay, it's the Affordable Health Care Act. Okay, first and foremost, so that
what a joke.
That you can actually Google and actually go to a law that's not some website that's talking about Obamacare and blaming everything on Obama. But this is just forcing you. Okay, it's using the IRS as a regulator, as a strong arm to buy insurance mandatorily at ridiculously high prices from companies. So, but I hear this and it just makes me want to poke my eyes out, or
me
just
too.
stab my eardrum with an ice pick when I hear people talking about it.
I want to stab your eardrum as well. I do. I really do. And the notion that somehow this is healthcare is a joke. You're right. It's you being forced at the end of a barrel of a gun to buy something from a private corporation that is not healthcare. It's insurance. And to make it anything other than that is completely disingenuous. I agree.
Yeah, but you know the deal. It's you gotta.
But we have
have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Once you read it, you realize it's really it's another IRS scam. That's what it's become.
That's why there were 16,000 more agents hired when the bill was passed.
Well, we got the slave report that came out along with this. That's it's pretty funny.
We're in sync tonight, Owen, except we're arguing a little.
A little bit. No, it's just I just look at different aspects. I try to find different angles rather than just.
What is an E3 in the Navy? Is it like a seaman third class or something?
I was a fireman. Thank you very much. They're seamen, which there's plenty of them. Then there's firemen and constructionmen, like Seabees, like our producer was, and airmen. Airmen. Did I mention airmen? Construction.
I thought that was Air Force.
No, they have airmen. I mean, you have guys you have the Marines that have they're basically like an Air Force. The Navy has obviously fighter pilots. You watch Top Gun, right?
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't about the Air Force, was it?
Nope.
No.
I didn't know they were called airmen, though. I thought they were still sailors.
No, but the enlisted people that work on the flight decks and deal with
so you put out
aviation. Fires. No, but that's just the kind of stupid government designation thing that makes. Okay. Yeah, I worked on electronics. I was an interior communications electrician / electronic. Yeah, so but you have a rate. And so, like, people that work in certain aspects or certain groups, you get stuck. It's kind of like if you were an IT guy, but you worked on certain kinds of maintenance items, you get stuck in the maintenance department rather than in the IT department. Even though you're working maybe on something that has a network capability, you're in that weird area. That's where I've been my whole life, and everything that I've done in that weird area.
In the weird area.
Yeah, somewhere in between. This guy doesn't want to do it.
Somewhere in between joy and a 30% payday loan.
Somewhere way between that, my friend. Way between that. So apparently there are 29.6 million people on planet Earth today that are enslaved. They are living in some kind of debt bondage, which I think is kind of funny because this includes debt bondage. So I would say everybody in America, so that's 300 million plus, and all of our new Americans that are going to be announced here in the next couple days. And that's why some of you out there, to just backtrack for a moment, I am appalled that I agree with Michelle Bachmann. She said what I have said often. I think she's listening to the Doomcast show. Bachmann says, quote, turning illiterate immigrants into Democratic voters is the plan of Barack Obama's. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of stupid Democrats that think that that's true. But, I guess it's not that appalling. 29.6 million people.
Wait a minute, back up. What did Bachmann say that you agree with?
She said that the plan is to turn illiterate immigrants into Democratic voters, turning them into Democrats. And I said last week and probably 4 or 5 times throughout the 67 episodes of the Doomcast that the Democrats believe that these people are going to come over here, start paying taxes, and they're going to become Democrats. And that's just not what happens.
You're right. We did talk about that last week. Okay. So was she saying the plan is going to fail? Or was she saying
that is the plan? That is why the
she
Democrats
doesn't agree with you because you don't.
She believes. She's saying that is what the Democrats believe. That's what they're doing is trying to turn illiterate.
And does she think that could happen?
No, but she thinks that is what they are doing, and I agree. Okay. We agree.
Yeah. All right, I can see that you agree, but I think knowing listening to Michelle Bachmann plenty. In recent
her husband
history.
Ungays people, so if you have that pesky problem of being gay, you can go to her husband, and he himself, who is pretty gay sounding. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a.
He used to be gay. Now he's ungay. He got the cure.
My gaydar is not 100%.
Oh,
so, and I'm not exactly sure how much gayness he has, but he exudes a lot of effeminate tendencies, vibrations. He's definitely. He's got that sexy lisp where he's like, hey.
There's slaves all over the world, Owen.
Hey, slaves. Are you sex slaves? Okay, so there's sexual exploitation slaves. There's debt bondage slaves, like all of you listening to the podcast, and me included. That's why we had to get married for my wife's glasses to the government, to the chagrin of Doug Owen.
Report defines slavery as one person possessing or controlling another person in such as a way to significantly deprive that person of individual liberty with the intention of exploiting that person through their use, management, profit, transfer, or disposal.
Right.
There you go.
Right. Well, in the United States, we have strong legal prohibition, so they claim that the reason that we only have 59,000 people that are enduring slavery in this country living in an exploitive state is because of government. So that is, well, we could debate that all day long. But there are no tweets from Michelle Obama. I think that we should have hashtag save our slaves. Hashtag, say, like the save our girls.
Yeah.
Save our girls, find our girls, whatever it was. Yeah, we need to save our slaves. 29.6 million people in forced servitude. Nobody cares that slaves are building the World Cup in Qatar or Qatar, however you like to play it. I mean, not even Charlie McGrath who's blowing his nose there.
Yeah,
59.
sorry, man.
Oh, it's okay.
An asthma attack right there on my nose. I had to fix it.
No. Yeah,
I read this report and
but
yeah, it is shocking. It is shocking, and the nations that are, 60,000 in the U.S. Obviously, a very, very that are defined as slaves, a very small percentage of 310 million, but still shocking that we would have people that fall in this category. I'm a little dubious on how how they're labeling how you fall into the slave category.
But do you think it might be political? Do you think that there might be some agenda behind some of these numbers? You think perhaps
China number 1, 3.2 mil.
Yeah, India has 14 million. Pakistan has 3 million. Those are people that have a lot of. I don't know. I mean, you have a regime change happening in China right now, forcefully by the U.S. aid groups. There's a lot of things happening in that regard, and they're once again opening and shutting down the internet and trying to create their own net neutrality, which basically means if you criticize the government, you'll be shut down or killed. But that doesn't excuse what the U.S. has been doing. Some of their little shenanigans, or like in Ukraine, the democracy building that they like to do. But it doesn't exclude or excuse a slavery. So I went to see the Walk Free Foundation's report here, okay? Because everybody says, well, this is a slavery report that's just basically getting national, global circulation is being put out by this non-governmental organization. So I looked into it, and it is run by none other than Australian billionaire Andrew Forrest, who's a good friend of who? Take a wild guess. Who do you think his best buddy is? Who do you think he gives a lot of money to and goes around? His wife is a consummate philanthropist. She's a philanderer. She's a philanthropist. She likes to. Okay, I'll give you a hint. Okay,
give me a hint because I don't know.
He's got
Paul Brennan.
Ooh, that's a good guess. Really?
Yeah.
Billionaire, Australian billionaire.
That's giving
He's got
money too.
He's got a lot of money, and he is into philanthropy.
Bill Gates.
Oh, you're close. First name's right.
Bill.
Come on. You have to pay him $250,000 for him to talk at your deal.
Bill Clinton.
Yeah, he's a good buddy of Bill Clinton. And
I was in the ballpark. I mean, these are all global elitists who want to depopulate the earth. I know.
Yeah. Well, one of his latest pushes. Okay, this is his little endeavor into politics. He has a quest to aid the, quote, vulnerable Australian welfare recipients who receive payments through a debit card that cannot be used to purchase alcohol, drugs, or gambling services. He has a No Cash November initiative to get everybody in Australia to not use cash, to use their debit cards to pay as part of the way to be more responsible and to hold immigrants accountable. So it's kind of like this racist undertone, but very pro-cashless society, bankster, profiting scheme as well. So anyway, looking into him and his wife and their little group. I mean, Bill Clinton's the first person that pops up on their friends to-do list, and it's really the creme de la creme of the elite, the people that I heard you talking about 594. Isn't it ironic? It's Bill Gates and the Microsoft billionaire that just bought, what was it? The basketball team from the racist old guy that was having sex with that dude boy chick.
What the hell are you talking about?
Oh yeah, he bought that team that's in California, L.A. The other L.A. team. It's not the Lakers.
Clippers?
He bought the Clippers. What's his name? Oh, he's the one that he screamed on the stage. Ballmer. Steve Ballmer. I think his name's Steve Ballmer.
Yeah.
Steve Ballmer was one of the big guys that was behind that gun control bill. That probably has no idea. We need less guns in the hands of bad people.
Right.
I'll give you $1 billion if I can write it off. That was one of the
universal background check, Bob, that Craig and I were talking about.
Yeah. So I mean, these are those people, those kind of people. So take the number for what it's worth. Take the number for what it's worth. But it's an interesting report. The timing of it couldn't be better. Though, people have said that, there's going to be race riots with Trayvon Martin if they let Zimmerman off. They let that guy off the 5th time after he's beaten his wife and, kicked his children or, whatever he's doing this week. They followed him for a while until he became uninteresting.
Right.
Well,
I was at the Walk Free website while you were talking there, and I was trying to find, the criteria, because I am a little bit dubious of.
So you have some money, you want to donate it and be part of the group here, because that's what they do. No. I mean, basically they have like an art shows, and you go and you buy a $25,000 dinner so that you can hobnob with Bill Clinton and other estranged sons of the Bush crime family.
Yes. Yes, Doug Owen, you're correct. You're on a roll tonight.
Damn slaves. So anyway, checking on the slave report, and this is the thing about the illegal immigration debate that gets left out of all of it, is that it's a way to rig statistics. It's a way to make it's a distortion in most of the things that you see when you turn on all of these money marketing shows. Because we have this slave class, people that are living under the radar, that are already here today, not to give them papers or to give them privileges, or for some of you who believe that they're getting Obamacare, which is not very caring and really just a payday for the insurance companies. Here's
a fact.
A way that it really hides, it obfuscates the prices that we have today, and what it would actually cost, and it actually puts that onto the state. So the state and the government and taxpayers end up subsidizing private profits at the end of the day.
That's right, and forcing you to help partake in that profiteering in the case of Obamacare for the insurance companies. Right. But look, we got 85. This is from Global Economics earlier this year. I mean, yes, is there slavery in the world today? I have no doubt about it. But I mean, this is being used, I think, like you said, by these elitists to push an agenda. But I mean, you don't hear this from these same elitists. 85 of the richest people on this planet, the 85 richest individuals on this planet, control more wealth than the bottom 3.5 billion. So 85 people control more wealth than half the planet. 3.5
just
billion.
Because they're
people.
lazy, Charlie. All the rest of the people aren't nearly
as
productive as those other
apparently
five guys.
Not. Apparently they didn't do their math homework, so they get to live in with the crumbs of these 85 elites. So talk about slavery. We just killed enough people and had
eugenicists at the helm. We could make everything okay. It has to be this way. So that way, I mean, you can't have all these people with just huge carbon footprints just doing whatever they want with free energy.
It's okay for Al Gore and Bill Gates to have these massive carbon footprints because they're saviors of planet Earth,
right?
But you get to live in a shoebox and take your 10-speed to work.
You don't get to write off all of your corporate fuel as some kind of carbon tax that you're donating to Bono or some other shit like that. You don't get to do any of that. You don't get to work that into your LLC or some other.
You do not.
No.
Oh, and we got to wrap this up. I got RT calling me in about 3 minutes.
Oh no, man. Well, there's a carbon tax on the way. The Senate is putting forward its very first carbon tax, but don't worry. They want to tariff countries, so that's the only thing that's going to save you folks, because God knows they can't have tariffs. They definitely have to pass off all of that onto the consumers out there. So you'll hear more about it.
And no doubt about it. No doubt
More
about it.
Goobergate. There'll be more videos of Goober coming out and talking about how Romney Care was just like Obamacare, but the Republicans don't care about that. It's true.
Yeah, and talking about passing costs on to consumers, one story I'm looking at here that we didn't get a chance to talk to, I probably will tonight though with RT, is 7 of the 30 largest corporations in the U.S. paid more to their CEOs than they did in taxes. And it's an interesting story because, you know, a lot of these corporations are like Citigroup, who wouldn't be in existence right now if it wasn't, you know, taking from your financial future to bail them out in 2009.
They're taking all the risks, Charlie. We're getting all the profits and the rewards, let me tell you.
We're getting dumped. The risk is getting dumped on us. There's no
Hey, man,
risk.
you can marry any gay person that you want in the state of California, okay? Aren't you happy enough with that?
You know what, Doug? If that makes you happy, then I'm happy because it's all about Doug.
It's that kind of stuff that keeps me doing these shows, and while we'll continue to do that, Doomcast 68 coming up next week. Thank you so much for being part of the show, Charlie.
Yes, if you want to contact Doug with a payday advance loan of 30% or greater, please contact him at doug@blacklistednews.com. If you want to contact me, it's info@wideawakenews.com. Our website is doomcast.com. What's our Twitter feed handle?
Doomcast Show. You know where it's at. Just Google Charlie McGrath and you'll find us.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody, and we'll be back here next week with Doom. What?
Hold on.
68?
Hold on. Say it real quick. Say Doomcast 68 real authoritatively.
Doomcast 68.
Oh, you couldn't hear it, but I really put this cool effect on you.
I heard it.
And you sounded awesome, too. Thanks, everybody.
Doomcast. Be there.
Doomcast.
Bye,
Be
Owen.
there.
I'm going to go.
Bye. Tell the Russians
Bye,
I said
Owen.
hello. Tell the Russians I said hello.
Das Vidanya.
Ah, yes. Häagen-Dazs.
Häagen-Dazs.
Bye.
Grey Goose. Bye.
Grey Goose. Vodka.